Hey everybody, welcome to this week's De-JOE-tional. I am coming from the Siteman Cancer Center. Susan is here, getting ready to have her stem cell transplant tomorrow. She had her high dose of chemo last night. Everything went very well. Today she just gets to chill out, let everything start working its magic. Then tomorrow she gets her stem cells, and we go from there. So we'll be here for a couple weeks. So you'll be getting all your De-JOE-tionals and What's Up Gafums for the next couple weeks from this location. So we're going to continue with chapter 4 of If God is Love, Don't Be a Jerk. Now, this may come as a surprise to most of you, but I'm a jerk. Sue?
You're not a jerk.
She's just saying that, but you know what? She is too.
Whatever.
And you know what? So are you. We're all jerks. Or we all at least have the capability of being a jerk. We all have displayed jerk-like behavior at some point. So, in that sense, we are all jerks. But what does a jerk look like? I mean, when I say so-and-so's a jerk, you can kind of identify different behaviors. Maybe they yell, or they're stubborn, or something like that. But it looks different to different people. Now, I'm kind of embarrassed to admit that I've become addicted to TikTok. TikTok's a social media app, for those of you that don't know, that started out as a dancing app, and you could record short clips. I think the max is 5 minutes of people dancing. Dude and I did one a couple of years ago when prom was canceled because of COVID. She put on her prom dress, and I put on a shirt and tie, and we did a little dance thing, and it was pretty funny. It went viral. Actually, it made it on Inside Edition as part of a clip. So that was cool. Anyway, it's now become people do political views and comic views, and there's not a whole lot of singing. There's some dancing. There's a lot of practical jokes. There's all kinds of stuff on it. And the cool thing about it is, like I said, the max is only 5 minutes long. So it's short attention span theater, which is kind of how we live today. We can't really focus much more than a few minutes at a time. But there's one guy that posts videos on TikTok all the time that comes across my feed who claims he's a journalist and takes video of police stations and federal buildings and courthouses and things like that. And he's always stopped by security or police, and they want to ask him, or they do ask him for his ID. Well, I don't have to provide you with my ID. I'm not doing anything illegal, blah, blah. And so it's just a thing. They ask him what he's doing there. I don't have to tell you what I'm doing here. I'm not doing anything wrong. Well, okay, anyway. So his whole purpose in doing these videos is to try to bait the cops into an unfortunate and awkward situation. And he gets split reviews. Some of the people are on his side 100%. I can't believe the cops don't know the law, put them in their place, things like that. And there's other people that are like, this guy is just baiting for an argument. He's just a he's a, well, I was going to say what my mom calls me. He's an S-disturber.
Shit disturber?
Oh, dude, you can't say that on video, dude.
Sure you can.
No, well,
Dude.
shh. This is going out on the church Facebook page.
Oh, whatever.
For the record, that was Susan, and she's highly medicated.
And I'm not staff.
And she's not. So we're keeping it anyway. But that a lot of people think that's what this guy is doing, and that's what he's kind of doing. So there are people that think he's being a jerk, and there are people that think the cops are being jerks. So it really depends on your point of view and how you look at it. And being a jerk means something different to different people. But it's not just that we have a different of opinion on things. It's how we treat those with that different opinion. Now I'm going to get into the book here on page 48 and reading, John Pavlovich says, generally speaking, it isn't necessarily our particular theological worldview, political perspective, or personal opinion that is problematic, but the manner in which we wield them, and our purpose for wielding them the way that we do. It isn't always the message, sometimes it's the heart of the messenger. It's not always the message. This guy with the cops, he can just go in and say, hey, by the way, are you guys aware of the First Amendment or Fourth Amendment or whatever it is? Maybe it's both. I am allowed to do this. I don't have any reason to, but just so you guys know, it could be an educational thing. But no, he doesn't do it that way. He's purposely trying to get them into a situation where he can prove them wrong. He has no business being there and doing that kind of stuff. So we've all hurt someone in our lives. We've all been a jerk to someone in our lives, either inadvertently or intentionally. If you did it inadvertently, you're human. If you did it intentionally, you're a jerk. Inadvertently, most of the time, I do things inadvertently, right, honey? I'm human. But if you do something intentionally, you're a jerk. Now, how many times have you been in an argument with a sibling, a parent, a friend, a spouse, and you know where their button is, you know where that hot button is, and you just want to put them down. You want to get a dig in. So you push that button. Intentional or inadvertent? It's intentional, right? It's intentional. So in that case, you're a jerk. So, got more to read here. Page 49. In those moments where we do those kinds of things, and in the conversations that flow from them, John says, I have continually asked myself, am I trying to understand this person, or am I trying to defeat them? Am I burdened to show them something I've seen or experienced that they haven't, or to show them how much smarter or enlightened I am? Am I genuinely seeking to change their hearts, or am I trying to make them feel like an idiot? When we've been in heated arguments with people before, are we trying to see their point of view? Not usually. We're trying to make them feel like an idiot. We're trying to show them how smart we are. We're trying to defeat them instead of trying to be open-minded. Jesus wasn't always received with open arms and appreciative hearts, so we can't expect to be. We need to remember that there is no inherent evil in acknowledging difference or naming opposing. We need to remember that there is no inherent evil in acknowledging difference or naming opposing views. But there may be if your disagreement is marked by extreme prejudice or premeditated cruelty. Jesus' command to love our neighbors and our enemies does not come with guarantees that we won't offend or bring discomfort or create turbulence. But Jesus is telling us to keep our hearts as blameless as we can while we do. So we're going to be wrong. We're going to show fault. But if our heart is genuine, we're going to learn to be compromised with that, or we'll learn to compromise with them and learn to look at their point of view. I'm going to continue with another reading here. John Pavlovich says, every day of my life, Christians preached a Jesus they absolutely refused to show me. I'm sorry, this is John writing about there was a singer from Nashville, and this singer is speaking here. Every day of my life, Christians preached a Jesus they absolutely refused to show me. They were always love, 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 but I received none of it. And so I walked away, Actually, I ran. He continued, I'm not sure what I believe anymore about what happens after you die, but I know that if hell exists, it probably feels like what Christians have put me through most of my life. He is one of thousands of walking wounded around you, whose most enduring spiritual obstacle is people who profess faith in a Jesus they seem to have little interest in obeying or imitating. His aspiration with those who loudly declare grace they seem determined not to extend to everyone shows up through the Gospels. He is continually dismantling people's well-curated facades of religiosity to determine what is holding them together underneath, forever measuring the space between what they say they believe and what their lives confirm they actually believe. I'm going to close with this quick reading here. We rarely get to opt out of life when it's painful, and it quite often is, which is why people of faith whose religion is marked by love are so necessary, because we are situated on the front lines of human beings in crisis in the way that Jesus was. And we can be a similarly peacemaking presence, or we can choose not to be. Like him, we can and should be the helpers and the healers, the ones who alleviate suffering and reduce despair, the people facilitating restoration and hastening wholeness, the better angels of this sometimes hellish place. We get to be the concerned Samaritan, stopping to attend to the wounds so many others walk by. We get to be the grieving disciples, still making room for unexpected guests. When we refuse to be that kind of compassionate understudy, when we preach a gospel of enmity or contribute to the world's suffering, or when we fail to embody empathy, we rob people of the chance to know a bigger God than the undersized facsimile that may have often encountered. We miss the opportunity to surprise them with kindness, and we forfeit the chance to make people feel like their inherent belovedness, which is the absolute highest calling there is. Perhaps worst of all, we further damage human beings already playing hurt, sometimes irreparably, and we do it in God's name. Faith shouldn't make you a jerk. Plain and simple. For me, again, this is John speaking, for me it means that your theology is only valid to the degree that your life is loving. Beyond that, your preaching and your prophesying are largely a waste of time to people, especially if they don't have a religious affiliation or share your worldview. If God is actually love, then there is no other acceptable alternative. Jesus is in your living room and on your timeline. He is the person you love dearly and the person you don't at all like. He is the one you believe you have everything in common with and the one you can find no connection to. So for the love of God, don't be a jerk to him. Now you guys all know that United Methodist Church is getting ready to go through a pretty unfortunate split. And over the past couple of years, there's been a lot of jerkiness going on behind the scenes. And I've told people for the last several months that the behaviors of this split are going to cause more people to leave than the issue itself. They're not going to see whether we approve of LGBTQs or not. They're going to see the way we fought with each other about it. It's already happening, and it's going to get worse. But we have the power to not be jerks about it. We have the power to find common ground. We have the power to be that healing wholeness that Christ has asked us to be, has called us to be. And oddly enough, this popped up on my Facebook page this week, and I'm going to close with this. If the world hates you because of Jesus, that's expected. If the world hates Jesus because of you, that's a problem. Pastor Steve Fries used to say this all the time, and I said it to my youth all the time. You don't need to quote scripture. You don't need to be on the corner preaching the gospel. You don't need to do all that stuff. What you need to do is when people see you, they don't see you, they see Christ in you. And if you're turning them away because of your jerkiness, you're the problem. Let's not be a problem as we move forward. That's it for this week. Blessings, Godfrey first.